visible,
visible,
目に見える、視覚で確認できる状態。
the stars are visible tonight,
the stars are visible tonight,
the damage was clearly visible,
the damage was clearly visible,
he became visible in the crowd,
he became visible in the crowd,
visible,
visible,
earnest,
earnest,
真面目で誠実な態度。
he was earnest in his efforts,
he was earnest in his efforts,
her request was earnest,
her request was earnest,
they listened with earnest attention,
they listened with earnest attention,
earnest,
earnest,
miserable,
miserable,
非常に不幸または不快な状態。
he felt miserable after the failure,
he felt miserable after the failure,
the weather was miserable,
the weather was miserable,
she lived in miserable conditions,
she lived in miserable conditions,
miserable,
miserable,
pardon,
pardon,
過ちや罪を許すこと。
pardon my interruption,
pardon my interruption,
he asked for a pardon,
he asked for a pardon,
the governor granted a pardon,
the governor granted a pardon,
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 departure,
departure,
ある場所から離れること。
the departure time is at 8 a.m.,
the departure time is at 8 a.m.,
his departure was sudden,
his departure was sudden,
the flight's departure was delayed,
the flight's departure was delayed,
departure,
departure,
ruin,
ruin,
壊れて使えなくなった建物、または完全に破壊すること。
the castle is now a ruin,
the castle is now a ruin,
the storm ruined the crops,
the storm ruined the crops,
his actions led to financial ruin,
his actions led to financial ruin,
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 cattle,
cattle,
牛などの家畜。
the farmer raises cattle,
the farmer raises cattle,
the cattle grazed in the field,
the cattle grazed in the field,
cattle farming is his livelihood,
cattle farming is his livelihood,
cattle,
cattle,
Equipment.
Equipment.
特定の目的のために使用される道具や機器。
The laboratory has modern equipment.
The laboratory has modern equipment.
We need camping equipment.
We need camping equipment.
The equipment was expensive.
The equipment was expensive.
Equipment.
Equipment.
Wound.
Wound.
身体的な障害、または傷つける行為。
He suffered a wound in battle.
He suffered a wound in battle.
The doctor treated the wound.
The doctor treated the wound.
Words can wound deeply.
Words can wound deeply.
Wound.
Wound.
Laughter.
Laughter.
笑う行為や音。
Her laughter filled the room.
Her laughter filled the room.
Laughter is the best medicine.
Laughter is the best medicine.
We shared much laughter together.
We shared much laughter together.
Laughter.
Laughter.
Bold.
Bold.
勇敢で恐れを知らない態度。
He made a bold decision.
He made a bold decision.
The design was bold and colorful.
The design was bold and colorful.
She was bold in her speech.
She was bold in her speech.
Bold.
Bold.
Witness.
Witness.
何かを見たり経験したりする人、またはその行為。
He was a witness to the accident.
He was a witness to the accident.
The event was witnessed by many.
The event was witnessed by many.
She will witness the ceremony.
She will witness the ceremony.
Witness.
Witness.
Patient.
Patient.
医療を受ける人、または辛抱強い態度。
The doctor spoke to the patient.
The doctor spoke to the patient.
Be patient, it will take time.
Be patient, it will take time.
He is a patient teacher.
He is a patient teacher.
Patient.
Patient.
Quantity.
Quantity.
数量、数、または多量。
Measure the quantity of water.
Measure the quantity of water.
A large quantity of goods was stolen.
A large quantity of goods was stolen.
The recipe requires a small quantity of sugar.
The recipe requires a small quantity of sugar.
Quantity.
Quantity.
Severe.
Severe.
厳格で容赦のない状態。
The weather conditions were severe.
The weather conditions were severe.
He faced severe criticism.
He faced severe criticism.
The punishment was severe.
The punishment was severe.
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 Excuse.
Excuse.
理由または説明、または許しを与える行為。
He made an excuse for being late.
He made an excuse for being late.
Please excuse my interruption.
Please excuse my interruption.
She couldn't excuse his behavior.
She couldn't excuse his behavior.
Excuse.
Excuse.
Triumph.
Triumph.
大きな成功または勝利、または勝つこと。
The team's triumph was celebrated.
The team's triumph was celebrated.
She triumphed over her difficulties.
She triumphed over her difficulties.
His invention was a triumph.
His invention was a triumph.
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 Origin.
Origin.
何かの始まりまたは出どころ。
The origin of the tradition is unknown.
The origin of the tradition is unknown.
They researched the origin of the word.
They researched the origin of the word.
He is of Greek origin.
He is of Greek origin.
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 Eternal.
Eternal.
時間の制限がなく続くこと。
The quest for eternal youth.
The quest for eternal youth.
Their love seemed eternal.
Their love seemed eternal.
He believed in eternal life.
He believed in eternal life.
Eternal.
Eternal.
Base.
Base.
基礎または出発点、または何かに基づくこと。
The base of the statue is solid.
The base of the statue is solid.
The theory is based on facts.
The theory is based on facts.
They have a military base.
They have a military base.
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 Remark.
Remark.
コメントまたは言及、または述べること。
He made a witty remark.
He made a witty remark.
She remarked on his appearance.
She remarked on his appearance.
Please remark on the report.
Please remark on the report.
Remark.
Remark.
Pause.
Pause.
一時的な停止または中断。
Let's take a brief pause.
Let's take a brief pause.
He paused to think.
He paused to think.
The music paused for a moment.
The music paused for a moment.
Pause.
Pause.
Plant.
Plant.
成長する有機体、または地面に植えること。
The garden has many plants.
The garden has many plants.
He planted a tree.
He planted a tree.
The company plans to plant a new factory.
The company plans to plant a new factory.
Plant.
Plant.
Stick.
Stick.
長く細い切り物、または付着すること。
He carried a walking stick.
He carried a walking stick.
The label wouldn't stick.
The label wouldn't stick.
Mud stuck to his shoes.
Mud stuck to his shoes.
Stick.
Stick.
Absolute.
Absolute.
完全で疑いの余地がないこと。
She has absolute confidence in him.
She has absolute confidence in him.
It's an absolute truth.
It's an absolute truth.
He demanded absolute loyalty.
He demanded absolute loyalty.
Absolute.
Absolute.
Observe.
Observe.
注意深く見るまたは記録すること。
He likes to observe nature.
He likes to observe nature.
They observe the stars at night.
They observed the stars at night.
Observe the rules.
Observe the rules.
Observe.
Observe.
Rage.
Rage.
強い怒り、または激しく怒ること。
The storm raged outside.
The storm raged outside.
He flew into a rage.
He flew into a rage.
Rage consumed him.
Rage consumed him.
Rage.
Rage.
Guilty.
Guilty.
罪を犯した、または責任がある状態。
He felt guilty about lying.
He felt guilty about lying.
She was found guilty in court.
She was found guilty in court.
The guilty party must apologize.
The guilty party must apologize.
guilty,
guilty,
setting,
setting,
物語の背景、または場所や状況を整えること。
The setting of the story is in Paris.
the setting of the story is in Paris.
He adjusted the setting on the device.
He adjusted the setting on the device.
The sun was setting.
The sun was setting.
Setting,
Setting,
murder,
murder,
故意に人を殺すこと、またはその行為。
His speech stirred emotion.
the police investigated the murder.
He was charged with murder.
He was charged with murder.
Murder is a serious crime.
Murder is a serious crime.
Murder,
Murder,
emotion,
emotion,
心の中で感じる強い感覚や感情。
The police investigated the murder.
his speech stirred emotion.
She expressed deep emotion.
She expressed deep emotion.
Tears of emotion filled her eyes.
Tears of emotion filled her eyes.
Emotion,
Emotion,
generous,
generous,
他人に対して寛大または惜しみなく与えること。
He is known for being generous.
he is known for being generous.
She made a generous donation.
She made a generous donation.
A generous portion of food was served.
A generous portion of food was served.
Generous,
Generous,
waste,
waste,
価値あるものを無駄にすること。
don't waste your time.
don't waste your time.
He wasted his money on gambling.
He wasted his money on gambling.
Food waste is a big problem.
Food waste is a big problem.
Waste,
Waste,
possess,
possess,
何かを持っていること、または支配すること。
she possesses great talent.
she possesses great talent.
The country possesses rich resources.
The country possesses rich resources.
He possessed an air of confidence.
He possessed an air of confidence.
Possess,
Possess,
disease,
disease,
体の機能に影響を与える健康問題。
The doctor diagnosed the disease.
the doctor diagnosed the disease.
They are researching a cure for the disease.
They are researching a cure for the disease.
Heart disease is a common ailment.
Heart disease is a common ailment.
Disease.
Disease.
Mankind.
Mankind.
人間全体、または人間という種。
Mankind has always sought knowledge.
Mankind has always sought knowledge.
This invention changed mankind.
This invention changed mankind.
We must protect the future of mankind.
We must protect the future of mankind.
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 Delay.
Delay.
何かを遅らせること、または遅れ。
The flight was delayed.
The flight was delayed.
He delayed making a decision.
He delayed making a decision.
There was a delay in the schedule.
There was a delay in the schedule.
Delay.
Delay.
Philosophy.
Philosophy.
人生、宇宙、または知識の本質に関する研究。
He studied philosophy at university.
He studied philosophy at university.
Her philosophy of life is inspiring.
Her philosophy of life is inspiring.
Philosophy questions our existence.
Philosophy questions our existence.
Philosophy.
Philosophy.
Press.
Press.
物を強く押すこと、または新聞やテレビなどのメディア。
He pressed the button.
He pressed the button.
The press covered the event.
The press covered the event.
She works in the press.
She works in the press.
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 Household.
Household.
一つの家や家族の単位。
Every household has its rules.
Every household has its rules.
The household expenses increased.
The household expenses increased.
She is a household name.
She is a household name.
Household.
Household.
Region.
Region.
特定の場所または領域。
The region is known for its wine.
The region is known for its wine.
We traveled to a remote region.
We traveled to a remote region.
The climate varies by region.
The climate varies by region.
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 Lately.
Lately.
近頃、直近の期間。
Have you seen him lately?
Have you seen him lately?
Lately, I've been feeling tired.
Lately, I've been feeling tired.
The weather has been strange lately.
The weather has been strange lately.
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 Refuse.
Refuse.
受け入れないこと、または断ること。
He refused the offer.
He refused the offer.
She refused to answer.
She refused to answer.
The company refused his proposal.
The company refused his proposal.
Refuse.
Refuse.
Ashamed.
Ashamed.
恥ずかしさや羞恥を感じる状態。
He felt ashamed of his actions.
He felt ashamed of his actions.
She was ashamed to ask for help.
She was ashamed to ask for help.
Are you ashamed of me?
Are you ashamed of me?
Ashamed.
Ashamed.
Reward.
Reward.
何かをした対価、または報いる行為。
He received a reward for his bravery.
He received a reward for his bravery.
They rewarded her with a promotion.
They rewarded her with a promotion.
The reward was well deserved.
The reward was well deserved.
Reward.
Reward.
Blame.
Blame.
誰かまたは何かの責任を指摘すること。
He took the blame for the mistake.
He took the blame for the mistake.
Don't blame her for the error.
Don't blame her for the error.
The blame lies with the management.
The blame lies with the management.
Blame.
Blame.
Status.
Status.
社会的または専門的な位置づけ。
He achieved a high status in society.
He achieved a high status in society.
The project status is uncertain.
The project's status is uncertain.
They updated the status of the order.
They updated the status of the order.
Status.
Status.
Arise.
Arise.
起こるまたは発生すること。
The problem arose unexpectedly.
The problem arose unexpectedly.
Opportunities often arise suddenly.
Opportunities often arise suddenly.
Questions arise during the discussion.
Questions arise during the discussion.
Arise.
Arise.
Voyage.
Voyage.
長い旅、特に海を越える旅。
They went on a voyage across the ocean.
They went on a voyage across the ocean.
The ship's maiden voyage was successful.
The ship's maiden voyage was successful.
He dreamed of a voyage to distant lands.
He dreamed of a voyage to distant lands.
Voyage.
Voyage.
Misery.
Misery.
深い苦痛や悲しみ。
She lived in misery after the loss.
She lived in misery after the loss.
The war brought misery to many.
The war brought misery to many.
He expressed his misery and despair.
He expressed his misery and despair.
Misery.
Misery.
Attend.
Attend.
何かに参加すること。
She will attend the meeting.
She will attend the meeting.
Many guests attended the wedding.
Many guests attended the wedding.
He attended to his duties.
He attended to his duties.
Attend.
Attend.
Afford.
Afford.
金銭的または他の方法で何かをする余裕があること。
I can't afford a new car.
I can't afford a new car.
They could afford the luxury.
They could afford the luxury.
Can we afford the time?
Can we afford the time?
Afford.
Afford.
Proceed.
Proceed.
前に進む、または続けること。
Please proceed to the next step.
Please proceed to the next step.
The project will proceed as planned.
The project will proceed as planned.
They decided to proceed with caution.
They decided to proceed with caution.
Proceed.
Proceed.
Forehead.
Forehead.
顔の上部、眉と髪の生え際の間の部分。
He wiped his forehead with a towel.
He wiped his forehead with a towel.
She kissed him on the forehead.
She kissed him on the forehead.
Sweat dripped down his forehead.
Sweat dripped down his forehead.
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 Rapid.
Rapid.
速い、または迅速な。
The river had a rapid current.
The river had a rapid current.
He made rapid progress.
He made rapid progress.
The city is undergoing rapid growth.
The city is undergoing rapid growth.
Rapid.
Rapid.
Reputation.
Reputation.
他人の目に映る人や組織の状態や名声。
He has a reputation for honesty.
He has a reputation for honesty.
The company's reputation is at stake.
The company's reputation is at stake.
She built a good reputation in her field.
She built a good reputation in her field.
Reputation.
Reputation.
Appeal.
Appeal.
魅力を感じさせること、または訴えること。
The idea has great appeal.
The idea has great appeal.
They appeal to the public for support.
They appealed to the public for support.
The book's appeal is its simplicity.
The book's appeal is its simplicity.
Appeal.
Appeal.
Violence.
Violence.
力による傷害または破壊。
The city experienced a surge in violence.
The city experienced a surge in violence.
He spoke out against domestic violence.
He spoke out against domestic violence.
The protest turned into violence.
The protest turned into violence.
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 Career.
Career.
長期にわたる職業生活または仕事の経路。
She has a successful career in law.
She has a successful career in law.
He is considering a career change.
He is considering a career change.
Her career spanned decades.
Her career spanned decades.
Career.
Career.
Forgive.
Forgive.
過ちや過失を許すこと。
Can you forgive me?
Can you forgive me?
She found it hard to forgive his betrayal.
She found it hard to forgive his betrayal.
Please forgive me for being late.
Please forgive me for being late.
Forgive.
Forgive.
Alike.
Alike.
似ているまたは同じような。
The twins look alike.
The twins look alike.
We are all alike in many ways.
We are all alike in many ways.
The houses were all built alike.
The houses were all built alike.
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 Majority.
Majority.
ほとんどの部分または数。
The majority of people agree.
The majority of people agree.
She won the majority of votes.
She won the majority of votes.
A large majority supported the decision.
A large majority supported the decision.
Majority.
Majority.
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
時々、ある時点で。
I occasionally go hiking.
I occasionally go hiking.
He writes to us occasionally.
He writes to us occasionally.
We meet up occasionally for coffee.
We meet up occasionally for coffee.
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
Benefit.
Benefit.
利益または有益な効果、またはそれを得ること。
The new policy will benefit many.
The new policy will benefit many.
Regular exercise benefits health.
Regular exercise benefits health.
She benefited from the training.
She benefited from the training.
Benefit.
Benefit.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere.
特定の場所や状況の気分や感じ。
The restaurant has a cozy atmosphere.
The restaurant has a cozy atmosphere.
The atmosphere at work is friendly.
The atmosphere at work is friendly.
He added to the party's atmosphere.
He added to the party's atmosphere.
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 Reasonable.
Reasonable.
理にかなっているまたは公正な。
The price seems reasonable.
The price seems reasonable.
He made a reasonable argument.
He made a reasonable argument.
It's reasonable to expect changes.
It's reasonable to expect changes.
Reasonable.
Reasonable.
Sigh.
Sigh.
長くて深い息をすること、またはその息。
She let out a sigh of relief.
She let out a sigh of relief.
He sighed with frustration.
He sighed with frustration.
The audience sighed in disappointment.
The audience sighed in disappointment.
Sigh.
Sigh.
Humanity.
Humanity.
人間全体、または人間性。
We must work together for the sake of humanity.
We must work together for the sake of humanity.
She showed great humanity in her actions.
She showed great humanity in her actions.
The disaster was a tragedy for all humanity.
The disaster was a tragedy for all humanity.
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 Charm.
Charm.
魅力的であること、または人を魅了すること。
She has a lot of charm.
She has a lot of charm.
The city charmed the visitors.
The city charmed the visitors.
He charmed everyone with his smile.
He charmed everyone with his smile.
Charm.
Charm.
Branch.
Branch.
木の一部、または組織の部分。
The bird sat on a branch.
The bird sat on a branch.
The bank has branches all over the city.
The bank has branches all over the city.
He climbed to the top branch.
He climbed to the top branch.
branch,
branch,
enthusiasm,
enthusiasm,
強い興味または熱意。
her enthusiasm is contagious,
her enthusiasm is contagious,
he lacks enthusiasm for the project,
he lacks enthusiasm for the project,
they showed great enthusiasm at the event,
they showed great enthusiasm at the event,
enthusiasm,
enthusiasm,
magnificent,
magnificent,
非常に美しくて壮大な。
the view was magnificent,
the view was magnificent,
she wore a magnificent dress,
she wore a magnificent dress,
his performance was magnificent,
his performance was magnificent,
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 nevertheless,
nevertheless,
それでも、それにもかかわらず。
it was a difficult task, but she succeeded nevertheless.
it was a difficult task, but she succeeded nevertheless.
He was very tired, nevertheless, he continued.
He was very tired, nevertheless, he continued.
The plan was risky, nevertheless, it was worth trying.
The plan was risky, nevertheless, it was worth trying.
Nevertheless,
Nevertheless,
solid,
solid,
物理的に固い、または確かで信頼できる。
the ground was solid underfoot.
the ground was solid underfoot.
She built a solid reputation.
She built a solid reputation.
They formed a solid partnership.
They formed a solid partnership.
Solid,
Solid,
alarm,
alarm,
危険を知らせるシグナル、または心配させること。
the fire alarm sounded.
the fire alarm sounded.
The news alarmed the public.
The news alarmed the public.
He was alarmed by the symptoms.
He was alarmed by the symptoms.
Alarm,
Alarm,
beast,
beast,
大きな動物、特に野生のもの。
the lion is a magnificent beast.
The lion is a magnificent beast.
He fought like a beast.
He fought like a beast.
The forest is home to many beasts.
The forest is home to many beasts.
Beast,
Beast,
independent,
independent,
自分自身で決定や行動ができること。
she is an independent woman.
She is an independent woman.
The country became independent.
The country became independent.
He values his independent lifestyle.
He values his independent lifestyle.
Independent.
Independent.
Essential.
Essential.
絶対に必要で欠かせないこと。
Water is essential for life.
Water is essential for life.
Planning is essential to success.
Planning is essential to success.
An essential part of the project.
An essential part of the project.
Essential.
Essential.
Permanent.
Permanent.
永続する、一時的ではないこと。
The change seems to be permanent.
The change seems to be permanent.
They made a permanent settlement.
They made a permanent settlement.
Looking for a permanent solution.
Looking for a permanent solution.
Permanent.
Permanent.
Preserve.
Preserve.
守ること、または状態を維持すること。
They work to preserve the environment.
They work to preserve the environment.
Preserve the food for later use.
Preserve the food for later use.
Historic buildings should be preserved.
Historic buildings should be preserved.
Preserve.
Preserve.
Burden.
Burden.
重い負担またはストレス。
The news was a heavy burden to bear.
The news was a heavy burden to bear.
She carried the burden alone.
She carried the burden alone.
The burden of proof is on the accuser.
The burden of proof is on the accuser.
Burden.
Burden.
Aspect.
Aspect.
事柄の特定の部分または要素。
Consider all aspects of the problem.
Consider all aspects of the problem.
The building has an interesting aspect.
The building has an interesting aspect.
The social aspect of the issue.
The social aspect of the issue.
Aspect.
Aspect.
District.
District.
特定の地域や区域。
She lives in a residential district.
She lives in a residential district.
The shopping district is busy.
The shopping district is busy.
The district is known for its schools.
The district is known for its schools.
District.
District.
Desperate.
Desperate.
極度の、または切迫した状態。
The workers formed a union.
He was desperate for help.
A desperate attempt to escape.
A desperate attempt to escape.
They were in a desperate situation.
They were in a desperate situation.
Desperate.
Desperate.
Union.
Union.
グループまたは組織の結合、または結婚。
He was desperate for help.
The workers formed a union.
The union of the two companies.
The union of the two companies.
Their marriage was a happy union.
Their marriage was a happy union.
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 Grant.
Grant.
与えること、または金銭的支援。
The university granted him a scholarship.
The university granted him a scholarship.
Her request was granted.
Her request was granted.
They applied for a research grant.
They applied for a research grant.
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 Treat.
Treat.
何かを特定の方法で扱うこと、または楽しむ。
He treats everyone with respect.
He treats everyone with respect.
Let's go out for a treat.
Let's go out for a treat.
The doctor will treat her illness.
The doctor will treat her illness.
Treat.
Treat.
Rush.
Rush.
急いで行動すること、またはそのような動き。
Don't rush your decision.
Don't rush your decision.
There was a rush to the exit.
There was a rush to the exit.
He felt the rush of adrenaline.
He felt the rush of adrenaline.
Rush.
Rush.
Deny.
Deny.
何かが真実でないということ。
He denied all the accusations.
He denied all the accusations.
She denied having seen him.
She denied having seen him.
The request was denied.
The request was denied.
Deny.
Deny.
Somehow.
Somehow.
どうにかして、特定の方法が不明ながら。
We must solve this problem somehow.
We must solve this problem somehow.
Somehow, I don't believe him.
Somehow, I don't believe him.
She managed to escape somehow.
She managed to escape somehow.
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 Notion.
Notion.
一つの考えまたは信念。
He had a strange notion.
He had a strange notion.
The notion of freedom is important.
The notion of freedom is important.
She dismissed the notion as absurd.
She dismissed the notion as absurd.
Notion.
Notion.
Constitution.
Constitution.
国の基本法、または体の健康状態。
The Constitution guarantees rights.
The Constitution guarantees rights.
He has a strong constitution.
He has a strong constitution.
They debated the new constitution.
They debated the new constitution.
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 Steady.
Steady.
変動が少なく安定していること。
The Roman Empire was vast.
He had a steady job.
Keep the ladder steady.
Keep the ladder steady.
She walked with steady steps.
She walked with steady steps.
Steady.
Steady.
Empire.
Empire.
多くの国や地域を支配する強大な国家。
He had a steady job.
The Roman Empire was vast.
The sun never set on the British Empire.
The sun never set on the British Empire.
He built a business empire.
He built a business empire.
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 Permit.
Permit.
許可を与えること、またはその許可。
It's hard to maintain balance.
The law does not permit smoking.
She applied for a work permit.
She applied for a work permit.
No parking is permitted here.
No parking is permitted here.
Permit.
Permit.
Tide.
Tide.
海の水位の周期的な上昇と下降。
The tide is coming in.
The tide is coming in.
They set sail on the high tide.
They set sail on the high tide.
The tide turned in their favor.
The tide turned in their favor.
Tide.
Tide.
Maintain.
Maintain.
何かを同じ状態に保つこと。
The law does not permit smoking.
It's hard to maintain balance.
They maintain a healthy lifestyle.
They maintain a healthy lifestyle.
He maintained his innocence.
He maintained his innocence.
Maintain.
Maintain.
Horrible.
Horrible.
非常に不快または恐ろしい。
The accident was horrible.
The accident was horrible.
She heard a horrible noise.
She heard a horrible noise.
He had a horrible feeling about it.
He had a horrible feeling about it.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Male.
Male.
男性、または男性に関連すること。
The male bird displays bright colors.
The male bird displays bright colors.
The majority of workers are male.
The majority of workers are male.
Male attitudes towards shopping.
Male attitudes towards shopping.
Male.
Male.
Occur.
Occur.
発生する、または起こること。
The accident occurred yesterday.
The accident occurred yesterday.
Changes occur over time.
Changes occur over time.
The event will occur next week.
The event will occur next week.
Occur.
Occur.
Trace.
Trace.
微量、または何かの起源を追うこと。
He has some unique characteristics.
There was no trace of him.
They traced the phone call.
They traced the phone call.
Trace the history of the building.
Trace the history of the building.
Trace.
Trace.
Characteristic.
Characteristic.
何かを特定する特徴や性質。
There was no trace of him.
He has some unique characteristics.
The characteristic flavor of the wine.
The characteristic flavor of the wine.
It's a characteristic of the species.
It's a characteristic of the species.
Characteristic.
Characteristic.
Shelter.
Shelter.
保護を提供する場所、または保護すること。
The earthquake made the house shake.
The cave provided shelter.
They built a shelter for the homeless.
They built a shelter for the homeless.
Animals seek shelter in the storm.
Animals seek shelter in the storm.
Shelter.
Shelter.
Shake.
Shake.
激しく動く、または手を振ること。
The cave provided shelter.
The earthquake made the house shake.
They shake hands in agreement.
They shake hands in agreement.
The dog shook its fur dry.
The dog shook its fur dry.
Shake.
Shake.
Industry.
Industry.
商業的または経済的活動を行う分野。
The car industry is important.
The car industry is important.
works in the tourism industry.
He works in the tourism industry.
The film industry is growing.
The film industry is growing.
Industry.
Industry.
Profession.
Profession.
専門的な職業や職務。
Medicine is a noble profession.
Medicine is a noble profession.
She entered the teaching profession.
She entered the teaching profession.
He's respected in his profession.
He's respected in his profession.
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 Trail.
Trail.
歩くための小道、または何かを追う行為。
They hiked along the mountain trail.
They hiked along the mountain trail.
The police are trailing the suspect.
The police are trailing the suspect.
The dog trailed its leash.
The dog trailed its leash.
Trail.
Trail.
Match.
Match.
競技やゲーム、または何かを合わせること。
The soccer match was exciting.
The soccer match was exciting.
His skills match the job requirements.
His skills match the job requirements.
She found a match for her lost earring.
She found a match for her lost earring.
Match.
Match.
Debt.
Debt.
返済する必要がある金額。
He is in debt after buying a house.
He is in debt after buying a house.
They worked hard to pay off their debts.
They worked hard to pay off their debts.
The country's national debt is growing.
The country's national debt is growing.
Debt.
Debt.
Declare.
Declare.
公式に発表または宣言すること。
The president declared a state of emergency.
The president declared a state of emergency.
He declared his love for her.
He declared his love for her.
Customs require travelers to declare their goods.
Customs require travelers to declare their goods.
Declare.
Declare.
Vague.
Vague.
はっきりしない、不明瞭な。
His directions were very vague.
His directions were very vague.
She had a vague feeling of unease.
She had a vague feeling of unease.
The memory was vague and distant.
The memory was vague and distant.
Vague.
Vague.
Security.
Security.
危険から守られる状態、または保護。
Airport security is tight.
Airport security is tight.
He invested in securities.
He invested in securities.
Security measures were increased.
Security measures were increased.
Security.
Security.
Capacity.
Capacity.
収容できる量、または能力。
The stadium has a large capacity.
The stadium has a large capacity.
He has the capacity to learn quickly.
He has the capacity to learn quickly.
Operating at full capacity.
Operating at full capacity.
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 Settle.
Settle.
問題を解決する、または場所に住み着くこと。
They settled their differences.
They settled their differences.
Settle the bill before leaving.
Settle the bill before leaving.
Early settlers came to this area.
Early settlers came to this area.
Settle.
Settle.
Involved.
Involved.
関与する、または参加すること。
She donated to charity.
He was deeply involved in the project.
The problem is more involved than it seems.
The problem is more involved than it seems.
Many people were involved in the decision.
Many people were involved in the decision.
Involved.
Involved.
Council.
Council.
意思決定を行う公式な集団または会議。
The city council approved the plan.
The city council approved the plan.
He is a member of the school council.
He is a member of the school council.
The council meets once a month.
The council meets once a month.
Council.
Council.
Charity.
Charity.
助けを必要とする人々に対する援助や寛大さ。
He was deeply involved in the project.
She donated to charity.
The event was for charity.
The event was for charity.
Acts of charity are important.
Acts of charity are important.
Charity.
Charity.
Element.
Element.
ある全体の一部または部分。
Water is an element of life.
Water is an element of life.
The design has many unique elements.
The design has many unique elements.
He studied the elements of the problem.
He studied the elements of the problem.
Element.
Element.
Incident.
Incident.
特定の出来事または事件。
The incident occurred last night.
The incident occurred last night.
They reported the incident to the police.
They reported the incident to the police.
No one was hurt in the incident.
No one was hurt in the incident.
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 Poverty.
Poverty.
経済的に非常に困窮している状態。
They lived in poverty for years.
They lived in poverty for years.
The charity aims to reduce poverty.
The charity aims to reduce poverty.
Poverty is a global issue.
Poverty is a global issue.
Poverty.
Poverty.
Bless.
Bless.
神の恵みを求める、または幸運を願うこと。
He blessed the meal before eating.
He blessed the meal before eating.
May you be blessed with happiness.
May you be blessed with happiness.
The priest blessed the congregation.
The priest blessed the congregation.
Bless.
Bless.
Stir.
Stir.
何かを動かして混ぜること。
Stir the soup while it cooks.
Stir the soup while it cooks.
The news stirred controversy.
The news stirred controversy.
He felt a stir of excitement.
He felt a stir of excitement.
Stir.
Stir.
Intense.
Intense.
非常に強いまたは極端な。
The pain was intense.
The pain was intense.
They had an intense discussion.
They had an intense discussion.
She felt intense joy.
She felt intense joy.
Intense.
Intense.
Available.
Available.
利用や使用が可能な状態。
The book is available at the library.
The book is available at the library.
He's available for the meeting.
He's available for the meeting.
Tickets are available online.
Tickets are available online.
Available.
Available.
Fix.
Fix.
何かを修正または固定すること。
I need to fix the broken window.
I need to fix the broken window.
He fixed his gaze on her.
He fixed his gaze on her.
Can you fix a date for the meeting?
Can you fix a date for the meeting?
Fix.
Fix.
Deed.
Deed.
行われた行為、または法的文書。
A deed of kindness.
A deed of kindness.
He signed the deed to the house.
He signed the deed to the house.
Her brave deed was recognized.
Her brave deed was recognized.
Deed.
Deed.
Derive.
Derive.
何かから得ること、または由来すること。
She derives pleasure from painting.
She derives pleasure from painting.
The word derives from Latin.
The word derives from Latin.
They derive income from investments.
They derive income from investments.
Derive.
Derive.
Vote.
Vote.
意見や選択を表明する行為、またはその投票。
The vote was unanimous.
The vote was unanimous.
They went to vote in the election.
They went to vote in the election.
Every vote counts.
Every vote counts.
Vote.
Vote.
Endure.
Endure.
長い間苦痛や困難に耐えること。
She can endure the pain.
She can endure the pain.
The building has endured for centuries.
The building has endured for centuries.
He endured many hardships.
He endured many hardships.
Endure.
Endure.
Hang.
Hang.
何かを上部から吊るすこと。
Hang your coat on the rack.
Hang your coat on the rack.
The picture hangs on the wall.
The picture hangs on the wall.
They hang out together on weekends.
They hang out together on weekends.
Hang.
Hang.
Display.
Display.
何かを見せること、またはその展示。
The museum displays ancient artifacts.
The museum displays ancient artifacts.
Her talents were on full display.
Her talents were on full display.
The information is displayed on the screen.
The information is displayed on the screen.
Display.
Display.
Strain.
Strain.
過度の努力または圧力、または緊張させること。
The heavy lifting caused a strain.
The heavy lifting caused a strain.
Don't strain your eyes.
Don't strain your eyes.
The relationship is under strain.
The relationship is under strain.
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 Exhausted.
Exhausted.
非常に疲れている状態。
She was exhausted after the journey.
She was exhausted after the journey.
The resources are nearly exhausted.
The resources are nearly exhausted.
He felt exhausted from work.
He felt exhausted from work.
Exhausted.
Exhausted.
Aim.
Aim.
目的や目標を持つこと。
He aims to become a doctor.
He aims to become a doctor.
The aim of the game is to win.
The aim of the game is to win.
She took aim at the target.
She took aim at the target.
Aim.
Aim.
Critical.
Critical.
重要または決定的な、または批判的な。
The situation is critical.
The situation is critical.
His critical review was published.
His critical review was published.
Critical thinking is essential.
Critical thinking is essential.
Critical.
Critical.
Standard.
Standard.
普遍的または受け入れられた基準。
The product meets high standards.
The product meets high standards.
Setting a new standard in design.
Setting a new standard in design.
The standard of living has improved.
The standard of living has improved.
Standard.
Standard.
Rid.
Rid.
何か望ましくないものを取り除くこと。
He wanted to get rid of the old furniture.
He wanted to get rid of the old furniture.
They are working to rid the area of pollution.
They are working to rid the area of pollution.
She rid herself of all doubts.
She rid herself of all doubts.
Rid.
Rid.
Swear.
Swear.
固く誓う、または誓約をすること。
He swore to tell the truth.
He swore to tell the truth.
Swear your loyalty to the king.
Swear your loyalty to the king.
She swore under oath.
She swore under oath.
Swear.
Swear.
Defend.
Defend.
攻撃から守る、または擁護すること。
The soldiers defended the fort.
The soldiers defended the fort.
He defended his thesis successfully.
He defended his thesis successfully.
The lawyer defended the accused.
The lawyer defended the accused.
Defend.
Defend.
Overcome.
Overcome.
困難や障害を乗り越えること。
She overcame her fears.
She overcame her fears.
Overcome the challenges ahead.
Overcome the challenges ahead.
He was overcome with emotion.
He was overcome with emotion.
Overcome.
Overcome.
Folk.
Folk.
一般の人々、または民族に関連するもの。
Folk music is popular in the area.
Folk music is popular in the area.
She collects folk art.
She collects folk art.
The festival celebrates folk traditions.
The festival celebrates folk traditions.
Folk.
Folk.
Hatred.
Hatred.
強い嫌悪感や反感。
His actions fueled hatred against him.
His actions fueled hatred against him.
She felt a deep hatred for the injustice.
She felt a deep hatred for the injustice.
Hatred can destroy relationships.
Hatred can destroy relationships.
Hatred.
Hatred.
Feast.
Feast.
豊富な食事、または大いに食べること。
They prepared a feast for the guests.
They prepared a feast for the guests.
The holiday is a time to feast.
The holiday is a time to feast.
We feasted on delicious food.
We feasted on delicious food.
Feast.
Feast.
Burn.
Burn.
炎や熱を発して燃焼すること。
The fire burned brightly.
The fire burned brightly.
Be careful not to burn yourself.
Be careful not to burn yourself.
They burned the old documents.
They burned the old documents.
Burn.
Burn.
Annual.
Annual.
一年ごとの、または毎年の。
The annual meeting is in May.
The annual meeting is in May.
She receives an annual bonus.
She receives an annual bonus.
The flowers are annuals.
The flowers are annuals.
Annual.
Annual.
Flow.
Flow.
液体や他の物質の流れ、または流れること。
The river flows to the sea.
The river flows to the sea.
Traffic flow was heavy.
Traffic flow was heavy.
Ideas began to flow in the meeting.
Ideas began to flow in the meeting.
Flow.
Flow.
Damage.
Damage.
物理的な破損、または破損させること。
The storm caused extensive damage.
The storm caused extensive damage.
He has to pay for the damage.
He has to pay for the damage.
The car was damaged in the accident.
The car was damaged in the accident.
Damage.
Damage.
Moreover.
Moreover.
さらにまた、追加の情報を示す。
Moreover, the evidence supports our theory.
Moreover, the evidence supports our theory.
She is talented, and moreover, hardworking.
She is talented, and moreover, hardworking.
Moreover, we need to consider the costs.
Moreover, we need to consider the costs.
Moreover.
Moreover.
Naked.
Naked.
衣服を身につけていない、または露出している。
He was found naked and cold.
He was found naked and cold.
The truth was laid naked.
The truth was laid naked.
The tree stood naked in winter.
The tree stood naked in winter.
Naked.
Naked.
Obvious.
Obvious.
簡単に見たり理解したりできること。
The answer is obvious.
The answer is obvious.
It was obvious she was upset.
It was obvious she was upset.
The advantages were not so obvious.
The advantages were not so obvious.
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 Ceremony.
Ceremony.
正式な宗教的または公的な行事。
The wedding ceremony was beautiful.
The wedding ceremony was beautiful.
They held a ceremony to honor the heroes.
They held a ceremony to honor the heroes.
The opening ceremony attracted many people.
The opening ceremony attracted many people.
Ceremony.
Ceremony.
Whisper.
Whisper.
小声で話すこと。
She whispered a secret in his ear.
She whispered a secret in his ear.
A whisper spread through the crowd.
A whisper spread through the crowd.
He could hear the whisper of the wind.
He could hear the whisper of the wind.
Whisper.
Whisper.
Largely.
Largely.
大部分は、主に。
The project was largely successful.
The project was largely successful.
The audience was largely adults.
The audience was largely adults.
The book is largely based on interviews.
The book is largely based on interviews.
Largely.
Largely.
Blessing.
Blessing.
神の恵みや承認、 またはそれを求める行為。
They received a blessing from the priest.
They received a blessing from the priest.
The rain was a blessing for the crops.
The rain was a blessing for the crops.
His support was a real blessing.
His support was a real blessing.
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 Tiny.
Tiny.
非常に小さい。
She saw a tiny bird in the tree.
She saw a tiny bird in the tree.
The room was tiny but cozy.
The room was tiny but cozy.
A tiny amount of salt is enough.
A tiny amount of salt is enough.
Tiny.
Tiny.
Prosperity.
Prosperity.
経済的に成功している状態。
The country enjoyed years of prosperity.
The country enjoyed years of prosperity.
Prosperity brings opportunities.
Prosperity brings opportunities.
They wished him prosperity and success.
They wished him prosperity and success.
Prosperity.
Prosperity.
Victim.
Victim.
犯罪や事故の犠牲になった人。
The victim was rescued from the fire.
The victim was rescued from the fire.
She was a victim of theft.
She was a victim of theft.
Support was offered to the victims.
Support was offered to the victims.
Victim.
Victim.
Motive.
Motive.
何かをする理由や目的。
The police are investigating his motive.
The police are investigating his motive.
She had no clear motive for the crime.
She had no clear motive for the crime.
His motive was purely selfish.
His motive was purely selfish.
Motive.
Motive.
Exchange.
Exchange.
物や情報を交換すること。
They exchanged gifts at Christmas.
They exchanged gifts at Christmas.
An exchange of ideas occurred.
An exchange of ideas occurred.
Currency exchange rates vary.
Currency exchange rates vary.
Exchange.
Exchange.
Definite.
Definite.
確かで疑う余地のないこと。
She gave a definite answer.
She gave a definite answer.
The plans are not definite yet.
The plans are not definite yet.
We need a definite commitment.
We need a definite commitment.
Definite.
Definite.
Administration.
Administration.
組織や国の運営や管理。
The new administration took office.
The new administration took office.
He works in hospital administration.
He works in hospital administration.
The administration of justice is important.
The administration of justice is important.
Administration.
Administration.
Feed.
Feed.
食べ物を与えること。
Feed the cat twice a day.
Feed the cat twice a day.
They feed on insects.
They feed on insects.
The program feeds data to the system.
The program feeds data to the system.
Feed.
Feed.
Oh.
Oh.
誰かに何かを返す必要がある状態。
I owe him a lot of money.
I owe him a lot of money.
You owe me an explanation.
You owe me an explanation.
She owes her success to hard work.
She owes her success to hard work.
Oh.
Oh.
Handle.
Handle.
何かを操作または管理すること、またはその取っ手。
Handle the glassware with care.
Handle the glassware with care.
He knows how to handle stress.
He knows how to handle stress.
The door handle is broken.
The door handle is broken.
Handle.
Handle.
Tear.
Tear.
涙、または何かを引き裂くこと。
Tears rolled down her cheek.
Tears rolled down her cheeks.
She tore the letter in anger.
She tore the letter in anger.
The fabric is easy to tear.
The fabric is easy to tear.
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 Resist.
Resist.
抵抗する、または反抗すること。
She couldn't resist laughing.
She couldn't resist laughing.
The material can resist high temperatures.
The material can resist high temperatures.
He resisted the urge to respond.
He resisted the urge to respond.
Resist.
Resist.
Determine.
Determine.
決定する、または確定すること。
The test will determine the next step.
The test will determine the next step.
They determined the cause of the accident.
They determined the cause of the accident.
She was determined to succeed.
She was determined to succeed.
Determine.
Determine.
Merchant.
Merchant.
商品を売買する人。
The merchant sold rare spices.
The merchant sold rare spices.
He was a wealthy merchant.
He was a wealthy merchant.
The merchant ships sailed the seas.
The merchant ships sailed the sea.
Merchant.
Merchant.
Relative.
Relative.
家族関係にある人、または関連していること。
I visited my relatives last weekend.
I visited my relatives last weekend.
The cost is relative to the quality.
The cost is relative to the quality.
He's a relative newcomer to the team.
He's a relative newcomer to the team.
Relative.
Relative.
Deliver.
Deliver.
物やメッセージを届けること。
The company will deliver the package tomorrow.
The company will deliver the package tomorrow.
He delivered a powerful speech.
He delivered a powerful speech.
They promised to deliver results.
They promised to deliver results.
Deliver.
Deliver.
Respectable.
Respectable.
社会的に認められる、または評価が高いこと。
He's a respectable member of society.
He's a respectable member of society.
A respectable performance.
A respectable performance.
They live in a respectable neighborhood.
They live in a respectable neighborhood.
Respectable.
Respectable.
Responsibility.
Responsibility.
責任を持つこと、またはその責任。
He accepted full responsibility for the error.
He accepted full responsibility for the error.
Responsibility comes with the job.
Responsibility comes with the job.
Teaching is a big responsibility.
Teaching is a big responsibility.
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 Suspect.
Suspect.
犯罪に関与したと疑われる人、または疑うこと。
The police identified a suspect.
The police identified a suspect.
I suspect he is not telling the truth.
I suspect he is not telling the truth.
The suspect was arrested.
The suspect was arrested.
Suspect.
Suspect.
Basis.
Basis.
基礎または根拠となるもの。
The decision was made on a scientific basis.
The decision was made on a scientific basis.
Trust is the basis of our relationship.
Trust is the basis of our relationship.
The theory has no basis in fact.
The theory has no basis in fact.
Basis.
Basis.
Examine.
examine,
詳細に調べること。
The doctor will examine the patient.
the doctor will examine the patient.
The police examined the evidence.
The police examined the evidence.
They need to examine all options.
They need to examine all options.
Examine.
Examine,
Defeat.
defeat,
敗北、または勝つこと。
The team suffered a defeat.
the team suffered a defeat.
He was defeated in the election.
He was defeated in the election.
They managed to defeat their rivals.
They managed to defeat their rivals.
Defeat.
Defeat,
Recall.
recall,
思い出すこと、または製品の回収。
I recall our first meeting.
I recall our first meeting.
The company issued a recall of the product.
The company issued a recall of the product.
He has a good recall of events.
He has a good recall of events.
Recall.
Recall,
Assist.
assist,
援助または支援を提供すること。
He assisted her with the project.
he assisted her with the project.
The nurse will assist the doctor.
The nurse will assist the doctor.
Volunteers assist in the event.
Volunteers assist in the event.
Assist.
Assist,
Jealous.
jealous,
他人の成功や利益をやむこと。
He was jealous of her success.
he was jealous of her success.
A jealous lover can be dangerous.
A jealous lover can be dangerous.
She felt jealous of his new car.
She felt jealous of his new car.
Jealous.
Jealous,
Narrative.
narrative,
物語、または物語を語る様式。
The book has a compelling narrative.
the book has a compelling narrative.
She shared her personal narrative.
She shared her personal narrative.
The narrative shifts between characters.
The narrative shifts between characters.
Narrative.
Narrative,
Conflict.
conflict,
異なる意見や利益が衝突する状況。
The conflict between the two sides was intense.
the conflict between the two sides was intense.
They are working to resolve the conflict.
They are working to resolve the conflict.
His words and actions are in conflict.
His words and actions are in conflict.
Conflict.
Conflict,
helpless,
helpless,
何もできない、または助けが必要な状態。
she felt helpless in the situation.
she felt helpless in the situation.
The disaster left many people helpless.
The disaster left many people helpless.
He watched helplessly as the events unfolded.
He watched helplessly as the events unfolded.
Helpless,
Helpless,
construction,
construction,
建物や構造物を建てる行為。
the construction of the bridge took 2 years.
the construction of the bridge took 2 years.
He works in construction.
He works in construction.
The area is undergoing rapid construction.
The area is undergoing rapid construction.
Construction,
Construction,
responsible,
responsible,
責任を負うべき、または信頼できること。
he is responsible for the project's success.
he is responsible for the project's success.
Parents are responsible for their children.
Parents are responsible for their children.
She is a responsible employee.
She is a responsible employee.
Responsible,
Responsible,
positive,
positive,
肯定的、確信している、または好ましい状態。
he has a positive attitude towards life.
he has a positive attitude towards life.
The test results were positive.
The test results were positive.
She received positive feedback.
She received positive feedback.
Positive,
Positive,
cure,
cure,
病気を治すこと、またはその治療法。
Scientists are searching for a cure for the disease.
Scientists are searching for a cure for the disease.
The treatment cured his illness.
The treatment cured his illness.
There is no known cure for this condition.
There is no known cure for this condition.
Cure,
Cure,
flood,
flood,
大量の水が地域を覆うこと。
The heavy rain caused a flood.
The heavy rain caused a flood.
The river flooded the town.
The river flooded the town.
Flood warnings were issued.
Flood warnings were issued.
Flood,
Flood,
stupid,
stupid,
知性や判断力に欠けること。
that was a stupid mistake.
That was a stupid mistake.
Don't do anything stupid.
Don't do anything stupid.
He felt stupid for believing it.
He felt stupid for believing it.
Stupid,
Stupid,
Horizon.
Horizon.
地面と空が出会う見かけ上の線。
The sun set below the horizon.
The sun set below the horizon.
She gazed at the distant horizon.
She gazed at the distant horizon.
New opportunities appeared on the horizon.
New opportunities appeared on the horizon.
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 Assume.
Assume.
何かが真実であると考えること。
Let's assume the best.
Let's assume the best.
He assumed responsibility for the project.
He assumed responsibility for the project.
You can't assume everyone agrees.
You can't assume everyone agrees.
Assume.
Assume.
Estimate.
Estimate.
おおよその数値や価値を判断すること。
He estimated the cost to be $100.
He estimated the cost to be $100.
The estimate for the repair was high.
The estimate for the repair was high.
Can you give me an estimate of the time required?
Can you give me an estimate of the time required?
Estimate.
Estimate.
Steep.
Steep.
急な傾斜、または極端な状態。
The hill was too steep to climb.
The hill was too steep to climb.
The price increase is steep.
The price increase is steep.
Steep yourself in the culture.
Steep yourself in the culture.
Steep.
Steep.
Mutual.
Mutual.
互いに関連していること。
They had a mutual understanding.
They had a mutual understanding.
Mutual respect is important.
Mutual respect is important.
The agreement was mutual.
The agreement was mutual.
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 Universe.
Universe.
すべての空間とその中にあるもの。
The universe is vast and mysterious.
The universe is vast and mysterious.
Theories about the origin of the universe.
Theories about the origin of the universe.
We are just a small part of the universe.
We are just a small part of the universe.
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 Instruction.
Instruction.
何かをするための指示や命令。
Follow the instructions carefully.
Follow the instructions carefully.
He gave clear instructions.
He gave clear instructions.
The manual contains important instructions.
The manual contains important instructions.
Instruction.
Instruction.
sore,
sore,
痛みを感じる部位、またはその痛み。
my muscles are sore after exercising.
my muscles are sore after exercising.
He had a sore throat.
He had a sore throat.
The wound became sore.
The wound became sore.
Sore,
Sore,
enable,
enable,
何かを可能にする、または許可すること。
the new software enables faster processing.
the new software enables faster processing.
His support enabled her success.
His support enabled her success.
These features enable better communication.
These features enable better communication.
Enable,
Enable,
mischief,
mischief,
いたずらやいたずらな行動。
the kids were up to some mischief.
the kids were up to some mischief.
He has a sense of mischief.
He has a sense of mischief.
Mischief was written all over his face.
Mischief was written all over his face.
Mischief,
Mischief,
convey,
convey,
情報や感情を伝えること。
the message was conveyed clearly.
the message was conveyed clearly.
He conveyed his apologies.
He conveyed his apologies.
Her eyes conveyed her sadness.
Her eyes conveyed her sadness.
Convey,
Convey,
sensation,
sensation,
感じること、または大きな感動を与えること。
the cold water caused a tingling sensation.
the cold water caused a tingling sensation.
The artist became a sensation overnight.
The artist became a sensation overnight.
He lost sensation in his fingers.
He lost sensation in his fingers.
Sensation,
Sensation,